You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, Y&R fans. It is Belinda from Soap Dirt. I want to talk about the great Mustache on Young and the Restless and what he is up to. Victor Newman is toying with Victoria and Adam, and I want to know who's going to fail his test and get fired. Victor Newman right now is back in the big chair on Y&R, and one of his children is furious about it. Of course, that's his mini-me, Victoria Newman, who is on fire about being sidelined. She also is upset that she can't seem to convince anyone to side with her in this matter. Even her bed buddy and sidekick Nate Hastings isn't taking the bait. He thinks she should relax, chill about Victor, calm down about Adam, and wait and see how things shake out. But of course, Victoria Newman has zero chill and wants to go blow things up until she gets her way. I'm going to talk to you about how Victor is testing his kids and what this could mean for the future of Newman Enterprises. But hey, if you haven't already, please reach down, click subscribe so you don't miss any of our updates, spoilers, and news. So right now, the big problem is Victoria no longer has the power to bully and boss people around. She is subject now to someone else's whims and is relatively powerless, and it is eating her up inside. I will say that I am thoroughly enjoying seeing Victoria angry and having her panties in a bunch about this whole deal. After more than a year of her outrageously bad and narcissistic behavior, firing Nick, firing Adam, firing Sally, sexually harassing Nate into a relationship, crapping on Elena, dismissing her mother out of hand. All of Victoria's chickens have come home to roost, and I am here for it. Victoria appeals to her brother Nick this week, telling him their dad is off his game and asking him to come back to Newman. She is looking for a co-conspirator, but Nick is not taking the bait either. He's got his own panties in a bunch over Adam, and he just broke up with Sally, and he's just being a real prat across the board for my money. Also, on Thursday of this week, Victor Newman intentionally calls Adam by Nick's name in front of Nate Hastings. Adam called his dad out on it and asked if it was a joke, and Victor played dumb. And then the two men are outside Victor's CEO office and are talking about it when Nikki walks up on them and they tell her about Victor's slip of the tongue, and they leave. She goes in and she asks her hubby about it. Funnily enough, Victor says he did it on purpose, and there is more to come because next week's spoilers for October 16th through the 20th say that Victor is testing his family. It looks like the exam has already begun, and we're about to see who passes and who fails. I think it's more about Victor baiting Victoria than anyone else. Already, she floated the notion to both Nikki and Nate that Victor might not be competent to sit in the CEO chair. She is clearly considering whether she can get the board to oust her dad and put her back in the seat. What I wonder is if Victor is planning a full-fledged permanent retirement from Newman Enterprises, but wants to first see which of his kids he can trust to hand the keys to the kingdom. He did try to let Victoria run the show, but she went power mad and was running amok, and he gave her so much rope. She thought she was a full-time cowgirl and then hung herself on it. She was just behaving badly. Now, if Victor starts testing her by pretending to be losing his memory, his mind, his competence, and she runs to the board behind his back, he will know that she's not the one that should have the job. Meanwhile, Adam has got his head down. He's fixing coffee for Nate. He's picking up his dry cleaning like a good little assistant. He seems sincere in wanting to prove himself, but he's also being honest with Victor and saying, you know, this job kind of sucks, but I'm here, I'm committed, I'm doing it. So he's not pretending to his dad that, oh, I just love being Nate's assistant, because that would be ridiculous. But he's being honest, and he's working hard, and he's sticking with it so far. Meanwhile, Nick refuses to consider coming back to Newman Enterprises. So to me, that means it's only Adam and Victoria in the running for the permanent CEO seat, if that is the ultimate goal of Victor's test that he is engaged in at this point. I also think Victor, though, might be interested to see if Nick weighs in or takes sides. But, you know, his oldest son has never shown a real interest in being CEO. And if Adam defends their dad and keeps working hard at his low-ranking job at Newman, then he'll be getting gold stars from Daddy Mustache. But I sincerely doubt that Victoria is going to pass the test that Victor has put in front of her. She is just a classic narcissist at this point. She thinks she's always the smartest person in the room. No one's opinion but hers matters, and everyone should bow and scrape and do what she says. That's what she was getting when she was in the CEO seat, but she's not sitting there anymore. What I also think is super interesting is that Nate is not siding with her, and that's eating her up too. I personally think Nate doesn't love her. I don't even know how much he likes her, really. I do think he likes sleeping with her, but I think what he loves is power, not Victoria. And I think Nate is hedging his bets and playing nice with Adam in case he winds up as CEO. And in the end, Nate is about Nate. And I think that's also part of Victor Newman's test. He warned Victoria, as did Nikki and Nick and half of Genoa City, that Nate is a snake that cannot be trusted. But Victoria can't see it, just like she couldn't see who Ashlyn was, who Billy was at his worst moments, and all of her other failed relationships. I expect that Victor thinks Nate will show his true colors once the guy thinks Victoria is permanently sidelined. And I think her dad wants to protect Victoria, but I also think he wants to teach her a valuable lesson. Don't mess with dad. That's what the moral of this story is, I think. And in the end, you know, this could get uncomfortable fast. I do love that Victor is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. He always seems to be 3 moves ahead. And I wonder if Victoria will try and get Adam to conspire with her like she tried and failed to do with Nick this week. She is desperate for an ally, and Nate isn't stepping up. And then a spoiler for the end of this week says she decides to give Adam the benefit of the doubt, which seems very strange. Of course, Adam has plotted against Victor countless times, so maybe she thinks he'd do it again and would be an ally for her to topple their dad if she promises him, you know, co-CEO or COO or something. But if she does propose some kind of thing like that to Adam, I would love it if he ran and tattled to daddy instead of working with her. I think that would also be karmic. So what do you guys think? Will Victor get the better of Victoria with this test? Will Adam pass the test, but she fails? And who do you want to see wind up in the CEO chair when Victor steps down for good? Adam or Victoria, or could it be Nick? I mean, we know Abby's not even in the running. I don't even think she is a candidate. So I think we can count her out of hand. Hey, drop your comments below on what you think of Victor testing his kid and who you want to see win this. Drop a like if you enjoyed this, and definitely click subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much for listening and talking soaps with me every day. This is Belinda from Soap Dirt.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.